I've been excited about this for a month by now, since Brian and I spoke about it the first time. And I'm honored that you, Brian, would join me for this webinar. I know that you are in busy times right now. You are living in Zoom and different online softwares. In Denmark, we are a bit more freed up than you are in the UK from the COVID-19 right now, as I hear it. So you're still very, very much online, and I'm very happy that you could join us today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Enjoyed working with you for some years now, and hearing a new way working online.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of presentations these last months in this way.
I was thinking when you were in Denmark first, Brian, can you remember how many years?
Yeah, it was 2013.
Yes, makes sense. I would say 8 years. So that's yeah, because our lives has kind of passed each other a couple of times. We met in Copenhagen first, and then we met in Stockholm by accident. I had a good chat, and then we're actually in London on a training with Brendan Bouchard together as well.
Yeah.
And then the main thing for me was when you said yes to go to the Faroe Islands with us and do a conference up there where we did a business conference, and you did a really excellent talk up there, and not just a talk, but being with you for a number of days was just inspiring. So ever since then, I've been a good boy, and I've done my Goalmaps on a regular basis and looked at them and so on. So you are part of my life, and my reason for doing this is I hope that you're going to be a part of other people's lives as well. Goalmapping has been around for quite a while now, and a lot of big organizations like Coca-Cola, Disney, British Telecom, and other people has been training this program. My first question to you, Brian, is why have they done that? Why do you think in the business setting people have been interested in this tool for goal setting?
Yeah, I didn't expect it myself. The idea of goal mapping came to me in 1994, and when I saw it, because I saw the whole thing, the concept of goal mapping complete in my mind, I thought it was a great way of setting goals for children, and I imagined it becoming established in schools. And for me, it was a big surprise that instead the immediate take-up was in business. And the first business presentation was 1995. I think there are many reasons why businesses like goal mapping. And the main reason is it works. And I really haven't been so active with marketing or sales. It has spread even to my biggest clients, Microsoft, through word of mouth recommendation from people that have used it or they've had it in their organization. The feedback, the results have been good, and they've recommended it to others. I think another reason why business like it is that behind the goal mapping technique, because creating the map, as you just showed, is just the technique. There is a whole teaching behind the technique. One of the things that business like about that teaching is that I made the teaching of positive thinking very simple, and I was able to show the science behind it, because most people have an opinion that positive thinking is not a practical thing. It's just, it's a little, in England we say fluffy. But I was able to show the simple science of how the brain cells connect, why positive thinking works, how anyone can do it, and the practical results, because we live in a world that is constantly changing faster and faster. One of the keys, I believe, to success in business and for sales, and particularly in this time with the COVID-19 crisis is that people need to really call upon the ability for innovation, that we look at the existing situation and we are able to see a more effective way forward. This is particularly important when we go through mass change like we are at the moment. A change always creates opportunity, always. The challenge is many people become fearful about big change. And when we're in fear, we're then often blind to the opportunity. And so having a goal setting technique and a training program that explains in simple ways how we find the opportunities created by change, how we maintain a positive thought so that we develop that ability of innovation, I think has been the big plus points. Microsoft, Siemens, Coca-Cola, British Telecom, many other organizations have their own people certified to teach the system. It's not just that they've had a presentation or they've said run a workshop. They have been so pleased with the results that they've sent their own trainers to be trained and certified so that they have self-sufficiency.
I know that you've been in sales as well.
Yeah.
When you were younger, and this year I've been in sales for 30 years.
Wow.
And one thing that when you're going to show Goalmaps in a minute, and we have also Danish Goalmaps that we had made for this session. And just to me, when I started out in sales and for many years, goals in the organizations I worked with were spreadsheets. There were Excel sheets and maybe one PowerPoint telling us what the management wanted for this year.
Yeah.
And I guess you must have experienced some of the same thing that when you see a spreadsheet with a financial goal and you see an explanation of our values and where we want to go, it's not your goal. I felt it wasn't always my goal. And the other thing about it was I felt kind of alone as a salesperson to go out and achieve these numbers.
Yeah.
So I felt that I was going to go and achieve somebody else's numbers, and I was alone in that situation for a lot of years. And so what hooked me on this when I saw it right away was the involvement that it became my goal, and we can have a joint goal. We're going to talk about team maps later, but it became my goal, and it became a goal that made sense to me, and I could put my own purpose into this goal. Yeah. What feedback do you get when you have people do this? What are their outcomes from this? Because it looks very simple, but it's much more than that when you do it.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. My approach with goal setting, when I'm running a goal mapping workshop for the sales team, and if there is one department I have worked with more than any other department, it is sales.
Yes.
While management and many areas of a business will use goal mapping, it is the sales departments I work most with. And when I'm running the workshop, always I insist with the management of the organization that the first goal map the salespeople do is a personal map for themselves. And sometimes I have resistance with the management. I had a battle almost with British Telecom, who was saying, no, go straight to the business targets and we just want them to focus on their targets. And I had to really stand my ground and say, no, everyone will do a personal map first. And then immediately afterwards, we're going to do a team map and then individual work maps. The workshop that is connected with goal mapping is a personal development workshop. And when I run that workshop for the person, and I help them to understand it is for them as a person and their whole life, because the principles of success can be applied to any area. And indeed, if they have children, they can even use it with their children. Then they are paying more attention, they're more interested, and they have an appreciation to their organization for putting on the workshop. Then when I'm saying, let us create now the work targets in the form of a goal map, there is a much greater degree of enthusiasm.
Yes.
And this was the way that I was also introduced to goal setting. That first it was a personal development workshop, and then I was shown how I applied that with my sales performance. But it wasn't sales performance first and then I get some personal development. It was person first. Now let us apply it to work. And that approach has had a huge influence on me over the years, and I've experimented doing it different ways. That is the way I find works best for most people. I think it particularly works well that way in the Nordic countries, because I think people throughout the Nordic really appreciate life balance and having themselves in a good place. And so for me, the Nordic has been the most important area of the world for me to work. Since I first visited Norway in 2011 was my first experience of coming to Scandinavia. And since then, just so many times.
Hmm. Maybe we should reveal what goal mapping is.
Yeah.
And show people what are we talking about. So we have a lot of reasons why to do it, and but it probably helps people a little bit to know exactly what it is. Can you show them, Brian?
I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
So here is a goal map. This one created by my graphics guy. And what is unique about a goal map is this balanced combination of words and pictures. Both are equally important. We have two hemispheres to the brain. Left side of the brain is more logical, thinks in words. Right side of the brain is more creative, intuitive, thinks in pictures. We need to engage both sides of the brain if we are to be really effective. And many people will just have a spreadsheet, as you say, with targets, numbers. It's a target to be achieved, but it's not really a goal statement. A goal statement is always written in the form of an affirmation. Personal, positive, present tense, as we see here on the screen. If you look at the goal setting books written by the world's top experts like Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy,
Brian Mayne.
But if you look at the books from 2000 back, what all of those goal setting books will tell you is write out your goals 100 times every day for 1 month.
Okay.
The reason why they recommend that endless repetition is because you need to repeat the words many times to have an influence on your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is like the autopilot. It's going to move you towards your goal once you program the subconscious. The subconscious, though, is responding more to imagery. This is why athletes are now trained to visualize, because when they visualize, the imagery is helping to influence their subconscious mind and give them the edge. And so if you look at the goal setting books from 2000 onwards, they're all recommending doing dream boards and vision boards.
Yes.
Many people come to me with dream boards and vision boards, and the limitation often is there are no words. We need the words for the conscious mind so we can be clear and precise. We can give quantity, how much, how many, by when. And those aspects are difficult to do in pictures. we need the imagery to engage the right brain and command the subconscious. And a goal map brings the two together. It's like a dream board plus. The other aspect often with dream boards is there is no action plan, and we need a plan of action. So here in a goal map, we have main goal right in the center, and then on either side, we have other goals. These can all be from different areas of life, or they can all be focused on the one area, such as our work and performance. At the top, we have the motivating reasons why the goal is important. Then we have a timeline, a start date and an achievement date. We have the major actions we will need to take, and we can give more detail to this. But here we just have the 3 simple big actions. And then finally, who's going to be involved? Who's going to help? Is it just us, or are there other people that will be involved in achieving the goal? By going through the 7 steps and mapping the goal out in words and pictures, we stimulate both the logical, conscious mind and the creative and subconscious mind. Yes. And that's what makes the system powerful. That's why it's spread to now 5 million people around the world over 25 years, including some of the largest organizations in the world, without direct marketing from me. Really on word of mouth recommendation, as me and you also met and
exactly
together.
Yeah,
I think there are now in the Nordic 500 people that are certified to teach the system, you being one of them, of course. Some people teaching it in schools, some are life coaches, therapists, a lot of therapists teach it. Mm-hmm. And of course, a lot of business leaders using it and sales trainers using it. And all of that really has been an organic spread from one presentation in Oslo in 2011.
Yeah. I've had experience, and I was coaching 3 people to do this goal map that we're going to show in a minute, to show some real life goal maps. And one of the things I stretch every time I go into it is that if you look at this, and a lot of people I work with have done some personal development or NLP or something before, and they look at your goal map and they say, "Oh, I figured that one out. It's very simple." And I said, "Yes, exactly." And then when we go into the process of doing them, what most people realize is it's actually the process of doing them and redoing them and turning the wording around, putting new pictures in, asking themselves if they feel right about it. To me, that's the big thing. It's actually the whole process behind doing it. And it's to me, it's wonderful that it's simple. The end result is very simple, but the process is not that simple.
No, there are more than 1 million children from state school who have created goal maps. There are quite some schools in Denmark that have used it.
Yes.
More in Norway, Finland, etc., Sweden. And it's simple enough that children can do it. And yet it is powerful enough that big organizations have adopted it. As you go through the 7 steps of creating a goal map, it iterates between the brain functions. So the first step, dream, is about using your right brain imagination, looking forwards, imagining yourself achieving your goals. Second step, left brain logic, identify the priority goal to be achieved. The one goal that once achieved will help you to achieve the others.
Yes.
And then to create the primary goals in words and pictures, why, when, how, who. As you go through those steps, it's like a thinking process, and it gradually creates a whole brain activation. For many years, people would create the maps on paper. And then in 2009, I had the first online software created. And we're now in the 3rd generation of software. And the latest software was created in 2016, 2017. And it means that people can do their maps now in a digital format. I have my business map here. And the reason why that's important is because when you are using a goal map for business objectives, the nature of business is that it's always changing.
Yes.
We identify actions, we take actions, new actions come, as we move towards our goal. And in a time such as this, with the COVID crisis, particularly important that we have a flexible system where we can update the goals. Many people will have set their goals back in January, and those goals will still be relevant.
Yes.
And in many cases still be achievable, but the route to the goal will be fundamentally different because of the situation. I've had so many of my physical workshops cancelled. I have workshops booked in maybe 12 different countries. They're all cancelled. I can't fly. But I have managed to maintain my bookings and my business by changing things around and working online, connecting as we are today. And it's been a lot of work and also incredibly interesting. And I'm seeing now some benefits that actually I didn't see before, because being online, there is a scalability.
Yes.
And so in some ways, I can see where there's a greater advantage that is possible for the future.
Brian, I woke up one morning and I came to think of you 2 months ago. And the reason was that it dawned to me in this COVID-19 period that a lot of goal setting were made actually in September last year when people were budgeting. And I was working in a lot of companies where we, in April or May, had goals and budgets that were made in September, even August last year. And now we were looking at them and we had to redo them, or as you said, we had to keep up the numbers, but we had to find a new way. Yeah. And my reason for reaching out to you this time was that I just saw a lot of people who were confused about what to do with their goals. And this is also why I wanted to do it in the way we're doing it now, where we are helping 3 people to redo their goals for 2020 that we're going to show right now. But I also hope the people who are watching this will get a helping hand in redoing their goal for 2020, because I haven't met anybody who's not in a place where they do need to redo their goals. Some people has more work than ever.
Yeah.
Some people has been home and not getting paid for a while, and so it's a big thing. So that's also my reason for reaching out in just before summer here. I hope that people will over the summer look at your stuff and try it out. It's free, and see if they can help themselves with the rest of 2020. Should we have a look at the 3 maps that Martin and Casper and Sophie has done? And I just want a short comment before we look at them, is that I've just guided them through the 7 steps of how to do a goal map. And I kind of stopped there because I wanted them to do it as most people do their goal maps. And then I know you have a lot of knowledge on top of that, how you can strengthen a goal map and the goals. So I think we should watch that. And I think people can learn a lot about not just how to fill out a goal map, but also the ideas behind it and what makes it really strong. So that's the reason why we're showing 3 goal maps now.
Yeah, and also the reason why you didn't coach them into making the goals strong, so that we had an example to show.
Exactly.
So if I go to the, just have to get the PowerPoint off, and I bring up the first map, and I think this is Casper. It's goal map. Zoom down a little. With a digital goal map, there is the option to not only change the goals and to update, but also, of course, you can choose how you see the goal. If I zoom out my screen a little, so I can choose here to see it side by side, just pictures, just words. I'm going to take the side by side view, and I'll zoom back in a little and scroll down, and I hope that's sort of in the center of the screen for everyone now.
That's good.
So the first thing to say is, everyone is actually a natural goal setter. Every decision we make is the mental equivalent of setting a goal. When we take a thought and we put the thought onto paper and we look at it regularly, that strengthens the thought. It strengthens our opportunity of achieving the goal. Because what we're actually doing when we put the thought on paper is we're forming brain cell connections. And the more often we're looking and reminding, remind in English, so we're rethinking the same thought, we make the connection stronger. And there are some simple things we can do that really strengthen the thoughts and the goal command to the subconscious. So the first thing is, as I showed earlier, words and pictures. And here Casper has some pictures, but not all pictures. So the pictures at the top are missing, where he has his reasons. And then with the goals, we have 3 pictures, but again, we're missing a picture. And it's the same with the who, we're missing some pictures there. When there's a picture for every goal statement, we're balancing the brain so that we're activating left brain and right brain. The left side of the brain, logical brain, thinks in words, has a very, very small connection to the subconscious mind. And so it's hugely important that we have the imagery to help balance up the brain function. The other important thing when we're writing goals is that we are writing the goal in the form of an affirmation. An affirmation is always written using personal, positive, present tense. So if I just take the one example here where Casper's written freedom, he may know in his conscious mind what he means by that, but it's not a goal command. I am free would make it a goal command. Even then, though, the power is increased when meaning is given to the word. So the more meaningful the word statement, the more power is created. And this is also true with the image. So my immediate feedback here, and I know that you would say the same, Jens, is to complete the map because it's not complete at the moment. And an incompleted map is sending a very weak command to the subconscious mind.
Can I comment on a thing, Brian?
Yeah.
I also think if this is the first goal map you're seeing, if you look at the top, there's a bit of writing saying international speaking is oxygen and in adventure and money. And I think a lot of us, when we saw that writing the first time, we had to kind of focus and read those words and figure out what is that. Whereas if there has been a picture for the same as the other, it makes more sense. So where Casper writes freedom, the picture that he's set next to that, I know, is from his house in France. And I think to Casper, he feels free when he's in that house in France, and that's why that picture makes a lot of sense. And that picture gives him an instant feeling of freedom when he looks at it.
Yeah. When you're writing the goal statement, like here, international speaking is oxygen, adventure, and money, it's actually better to separate out the goals. If you have too many words, the subconscious mind is actually missing the command. Creating a goal map is a little bit like self-hypnosis, and we want clear, succinct statements about what is important to achieve. Let me look at the next one. This is from Martin. Here we have the words and pictures, and we can see the whole map is together. It's looking very good. I will put it into the side-by-side view. So again, with the goals, we have statements. So I have run a half marathon. I will build the foundation for living abroad with my family. I want to have authentic family time. I have lived a healthy lifestyle and weigh 85 kg. It's much, much better in terms of following the principles of creating strong goal commands. What would strengthen this further is tightening the statements a little. There are some of the statements that are perhaps a little longer than they need to be. Also making sure that all of the statements are written in present tense. So yes. I want to have authentic time with my family. The challenge is the subconscious mind doesn't understand past, present, future, only understands now. So always when we're writing goals, we must write it like it's already achieved. I have authentic time with my family is a goal command, and then the subconscious starts working to make that reality. I want to tells the subconscious it's in the future, and the subconscious just keeps it in the future. The other thing that would increase the power is in the reasons at the top, and also here in the actions, again, to have them I statements. So I see this many times when it comes to this part of the map, the how, people are writing like a shopping list, to-do list. So activate myself on mobility list. And I think the reason why people write in this way, build 90 days plan for entry into new job, is because when they're doing this part of the map, they are using their left brain logic. And as soon as you're in left brain logic, you're thinking, okay, make the list, make the call, do the thing. But again, each of these actions are like a mini goal to be achieved. And by writing them in the form of an affirmation, I activate myself on the mobility list. It really increases the power. Here is just a few too many words, perhaps. And I know it's a list of all the people involved. He's got the whole team there. So it's okay. But sometimes it's better just to have team rather than a lot of detail which the subconscious loses.
So what should Martin have written down and build 90-day plans for entry into new job? What would be the right affirmation?
Simply by putting I at the beginning.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's a statement.
Yes.
Activate myself on mobility list.
Yeah.
I activate myself on mobility list. Makes it a goal command. And it's an example of how a small difference can make a big difference. A small change making a big difference. One of the analogies I use, it's like when you're taking a picture.
I love that.
Very small adjustment on the lens of the camera, suddenly the picture is coming clear. The last map here. So nice, colourful pictures. And the more meaning the statement and the more meaning the picture has for the person, the more power is created. Same principle that the I is missing here from many of the statements. We have it 1 hour exercise. So I exercise 1 hour a day. And then, yeah. The other thing that's a small change, but makes a very big difference. And what's the name of this person? Sophie. So she does it in some of her statements using capital letters. Look here at this one at the top, playful and long life. So I have a playful and long life. But when you have the beginning of the word with capital letter, like she has here with playful, it gives the word more meaning when you're looking at it. And it's that meaning that is picked up by the subconscious. Same here with the contribute, profitable business. By using capital letters, big letters in the statement, creates much more power. 2 years ago, I did a health goal map for me. I always have a health goal map, but when I did one 2 years ago, my immediate statement was, I am fit and healthy. Now, it is an affirmation. It's personal, positive, present tense. But it's not so meaningful and powerful. I am fit and healthy. And as part of my health regime, I decided to do a cleanse, and I did an aloe vera cleanse. And the people that gave me the aloe vera cleanse, they were actually a client of mine that I was doing presentations for. And they said it will give your skin a really healthy glow. And I had like a bad rash on my face and some problems with my foot. And I thought, what do I want by doing the cleanse? Well, I want my my foot in a good way.
Yeah.
I want the rash on my face gone. And I wrote as my main goal, I am a healthy glow from head to toe.
Ah.
And because the statement had a rhyme, and because it was saying what I wanted, healthy glow from head to toe, the statement became very meaningful for me. And I found myself repeating it at different times through the day. I'm a healthy glow from head to toe. And that map is gone. And so is the mark on my face, and so was the problem with my foot. And new maps have come. But the message is still in my head. A healthy glow from head to toe. And it's making small changes. When people create the map, they also create the brain cell connections that start the command to their subconscious. The ritual to follow is look at the map once a day. The reason why my map is here, it wasn't for the presentation today. I look at my map each morning, and as I look at the pictures, I say the words that re-establishes the brain cell connection. And when I see a small improvement, like changing the words a little or a new image I would like to use, it is the click of a button with the online system, and I'm updating it. And it keeps my map alive. It keeps my goals and dreams clear in my mind, and it keeps my subconscious moving me towards their achievement.
Martin, who did one of them, is a really brave guy. He just landed a huge job where he's going to be country lead for Denmark in a very big international organization. And I spoke to him the other day, and he said, you know what? This makes a lot of sense to me. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my goal map with my new boss. And I thought, oh, is that a good idea to show your new boss your goal map? And then after a little while, I thought that's exactly what you should do.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? What he's doing here?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. In England, I've had many organizations that use goal mapping because they find it's a great way of communicating targets and goals. In Italy, the Italian Tourist Board use goal mapping. They have a team goal map, they have individual goal maps, and when they go into the local community and they go to visit hotel owners, restaurant owners, they are showing their goal maps because it's a clear, simple way of saying, here are our main objectives, here is why we are doing it, when, how, who is involved. And all of the key elements are there on one page. Siemens use goal mapping as part of their project planning. Now they have big documents with critical path analysis and all of the great things that they do for their planning. And they have a goal map because they capture that key information on one page. And it becomes a very succinct way. Last summer, I worked with a national organization here in England who are the auto breakdown service. All of their departments had goal maps, and they would share their goal maps, their department goal maps, to communicate to each of the different departments the changes they were making and why they were important. Each individual team member also had a goal map. So this wasn't just sales, this was customer service, this was the engineers, this was breakdown recovery. All of the people would have a goal map. British Telecom used goal mapping as a personal development plan. So if you want to take a career path in British Telecom, they will ask you, create a goal map of the management position you wish, the courses you will take to achieve that, why it's important to you, when you want to achieve it, the steps you're going to move along, and who is going to be your mentors and trainers. A copy of that goal map is then retained by the person's manager, and they bring it out on their performance review. And there are a number of people in Denmark at this time who are doing the certified training with me because they're using goal mapping to help people with their employment, either in changing their work because they want to change careers, or in finding work because currently they are unemployed. And I have a growing number of recruitment organizations and employment agencies in Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, here of course in England, that are using goal mapping to help people find the work they love to do, and then also of course to excel within their targets. So I'd say absolutely, Martin's sharing his goal map. He's sharing his aspirations in that way, and I think it will work very well for him, especially with you coaching him to get his map in the best way possible.
Yeah, I told you the other day that I showed you my wife my goal maps, and just before doing so, sometimes I'm a little bit nervous that it's all business and money and not enough family and all that, but I get a really good response. And two things happened to me when I did that. One thing is that I can feel that she's with me on this and we can do a shared family thing. And the other thing is some of her questions, or when I see just a little mimicking in her face, makes me think, maybe this can be stronger. And then I can go and strengthen my goal map after sharing with somebody. So that's also what came to me with Martin. The more people you shared with, the higher the likelihood that you're actually going to achieve your goal. And it's a very easy way to explain your goals because the pictures gives a lot of meaning to people quickly.
Yeah. And when you are sharing your goals, because you are saying it out loud, it's known in psychology as a double reinforcement. You are hearing the thought on the inside of your mind, but you're also hearing yourself saying the words. Makes it much, much more powerful. There's a whole process of hypnosis that works in a similar way. You are also making the goal public. You are committing yourself. You're demonstrating belief in yourself. You're saying, here is my goal. Here is my target. This is what I'm going for. And of course, sometimes there is some very practical help that comes because you're sharing your goal, somebody else is interested and say, well, I can help you with that. When I started sharing, my big goal is to reach 7 million people with goal mapping. And I'm at maybe 5 million now. And it's taken me 25, 26 years to get to 5 million.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have another 25, 26 years to go. So
but you only have 2 million left.
I have 2 million left. I would like the next 2 million more quickly. And the more I tell people though, and I share that map and I say, look, here is my map to reach 7 million. And I share it in my presentations often. And so many people over the years have said, yeah, I will help you. I will go and tell 100, 1,000 people about the system and encourage them to do their maps. And what I've noticed is I'm often speaking at big conferences. Sometimes there are many thousands of people at the conference. And people will say to me afterwards, I really enjoyed your presentation. I found it so interesting. But I know when I look at the statistics, It is not listening to me that makes the difference. It is people creating their map. Listening to me doesn't form those brain cell connections in the same way. It is when you work through those 7 simple steps and you are choosing images that have meaning for you. I think it was Casper's map. You said that the picture was from his home in France and it has great meaning for him. When you have those types of images, and it may be that you have a photo of your children or your loved ones, that is creating a huge degree of brain cell stimulation, more than actually can be achieved in drawing. And for many years, I was telling people you must draw your maps because of the brain cell stimulation. Actually, now technology is so good that we can download easily photos from our phone. We have them on our computer. We can upload them into the map. And having that familiar family photo or picture of a loved one or a view like Casper has from his home is a huge positive stimulation and makes the goal really powerful. But it's this balanced combination of the words and also the pictures. So we want the words to be very clear, very precise about what the goal is, and then the imagery to form the stimulation.
Brian, we have 10 minutes left, and I just wanted to make sure that we show people where they can go and create a goal map before we finish off. And I also want to ask people to ask questions in the chat by now. So if there's anything you want to ask us, please go ahead and write in the chat so we can answer them before we finish off. But let's start with just showing people how they can experiment and try out their own goal maps.
Yeah, and you have your own link, of course, to the online program. Will you post that for people in the chat?
Yeah.
I will, if I share my screen again, I will show just in a few moments the online program here. And I'm already signed in, so I'm just going to log in here. This is my home screen. My mother is 93, and I have her doing a goal map as well. So when a person logs in, and as you mentioned earlier, Jens, it's free, and you can post up your link. I have a lot of maps here, as you can see. But if you go here, create new goal map, and then it brings you immediately to the 7 steps. The final number 8 here is just to view the map. On each of the steps, there is a video instruction if people want to view that, so that it's guiding them through. They simply write in their goals, they move through the steps. When they get to step 3, it creates for them an image library. If I open up one of my maps here, I go to the edit view. You can see I've written in my 5 goals: personal, positive, present tense. In step 2, I'm choosing a main goal. You simply click whichever goal you think is the most important, click the center, and it moves there. Step 3, it's time to place the pictures. I have some of my own drawings, and sometimes I'm downloading pictures. When you open the image library, all of the folders have images, or you can search here. So if I write sales, let's see what comes. You see we have a lot of images that come up, and click any one, goes directly into my map. Then we put in why we want it, again the images. On the when, we have a date field, so we just choose the time that we think is appropriate for achieving the main goal. And then how, and when we are writing in the actions, it's important to have the actions in a sequence. So the action we think we should be taking first wants to be at the bottom, so it's nearest the start date with the others moving up. We can move them all around, just click, drag and drop. and then who will help us take the actions to move towards the goal, onto the final step, and we can view the map. Now I need to change back the picture because I don't look like that. But I will do that afterwards.
And you can print it afterwards?
So here, generate image.
Yeah.
And that is creating the map, which I can save to my computer. I can have it as a screensaver. I can print it out. I can attach it in an email. It's also very easy to share the map. You have your own coaching pages, of course. So people can just click the coach button and it will share with you into the coach page if they're creating their account through your link, or you can just email the map directly because it takes the link to the map and shares it out in that way. It's a very simple system to use. There's video instruction throughout, and there is also video for people who want to know a little more about the training program itself. If they go here into Life Path, each of these dots on the island is a piece of video from the goal mapping workshop, which guides the person through the key principles of positive thinking, success, etc., so that they can deepen their understanding of the content behind the technique of goal mapping.
Excellent. And Jakob is asking us, how many goals should I set? Shall they be very ambitious goals, or can they be mixed with more achievable goals? So number of goals.
Yeah. I think it's important to start with one map. One map that is the big picture of you living your best life and being your best. So I have one map, which is my sort of 5-year goal map. And it's a map that covers all the important areas of my life. So I have a map that the goal map says there's a health goal, a wealth goal, family goal, etc. So it's one map giving me the big picture. Then I create additional maps that focus on those areas. So I have a goal map just about my health. I have a goal map just about my wealth. I have several goal maps about my work, because I will have a goal map for the year and the targets, but I will also have a goal map about specific projects. And like I have a goal map focused on the new webinar that I'm creating, new sales webinar, because you want to capture that important information. And rather than trying to cram all the information into one map, you have more than one map. So my recommendation is start with the one map and then have more. And there may be a point where it is too many. That is different for each person.
Yeah.
I have about 5 or 6 goal maps. Some of them are long term, like I have a goal map about my purpose of reaching 7 million lives. That map really doesn't change very much. It's a long-term map. It's ongoing work for me. Other maps, like my health and fitness map, are just 6 weeks, because I'm looking at what's my diet, what's my exercise plan for the next 6 weeks, the coming period. The work map's changing all the time. I think it's good to have a mixture of small goals and big goals. So my big goal is 7 million people. I also have some big goals around the number of people I want teaching goal mapping, establishing goal mapping in more schools. They're all big goals. And then I have smaller goals as well. It's important to think through, what do I want to do with my life? How do I want to use my time? Later today, I will go collect my children, because it's my weekend to have them now. I'm divorced. And when I get my children together, we're doing a goal map together. And it's what they want to do their time this summer, and how we will have our time together. And there'll be some camping, some beach time, some adventure time. So small goals, but important, because it's about that family time, which is precious to me.
I'm not as advanced as you are, Brian. I've gotten my 5-year map I've done, which is good, and I do every half year. I do a map for my next 6 months. 1 year is too far away from me. I need 6 months, so I have to do something right now.
Yeah.
But I was just triggered by you saying with the kids, I'm going to do my first goal map with my kids this summer and have them try it out. So I really look forward to see how they're going to work with it. We have a question here from Klaus, who's asking, how do you differ between main goal and your actions in terms of short-term and long-term perspective? Example, my long-term goals is becoming head of sales in a C25 company, and today I'm a sales rep in a small company. Is my main goal then the head of sales in the big company, or do I need to break it down and make goals into more realistic short-term goals?
I would say you want that long-term goal, being the head of sales in the big company. You then want to look at what are the side goals that accompany that main goal. So there will be different achievements that are helping with that main goal. And then to look at the actions, the how. And if it's a long-term goal, and maybe he's looking at 5 years or maybe more, then to take the actions and say, okay, what are the major achievements for me to reach that main goal? I need to really boost my profile. I need to increase my level of success in my current position, etc. And then I would take those actions and ask, do I need to have that action as a main goal? Let me see here, I have an example I can show quickly. This is my goal map of reaching 7 million people. Here are the actions leading up. The top action here is to have 7,000 people certified as teachers, trainers, coaches with the system. Because I believe strategically 7,000 people certified really helps establish the 7 million. Certifying 7,000 people is quite a big goal. So I have it here as a separate map. The main goal is 7,000. And here, working in education, corporate, creating the new online program. So I have another map just about creating the online program. I have another map about advancing goal mapping in schools. So I'm breaking down into more detail rather than trying to put it all on one page. I've got the big picture so that my subconscious knows where I'm going and I'm clear about where I'm going. And then I'm creating additional maps to go down into the detail. And with the long-term map, it's really not changing so much. So it isn't like I have to keep working on it. But gradually I'm evolving my plan and I'm evolving the detail of how I'm reaching those big long-term goals. And I would recommend it's the same for your person with the question. He's got that long-term goal about being sales director in a big company. There will be many short-term goals that are part of his journey to reach that.
But I also think Klaus's good question underlines why there's supporting goals to the main goal. Yeah. So having 4 goals that will support your main goal will help him have some more, maybe more short-term goals towards that big goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Clarified a lot, Klaus says. So
yeah, I see excellent.
It. Brian, we have to wrap up. You are going into your next webinar and helping more people achieve their goals. And what I decided to do is I'm going to email out to everybody the video that we recorded from this session and my coaching page. So if they want me as a supporting coach, they can get it from there. And then, of course, you can go into Brian's system and log on and make free goal maps and share them with as many people as you can. And any last words from you, Brian?
My next presentation is in 25 minutes with people in Norway. And if I was in Copenhagen now speaking, even though Norway is close, I can never quite get to Norway in the time of 25 minutes.
No.
So there are some real advantages now with the technology. It's been a pleasure to be with you as always, Jens. And I love to share with the people in Scandinavia, and Denmark as a special place in my heart. So fantastic to connect today, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Brian. You're always been very good at sharing and being non-egoistic. And the last thing I want to say is that you know that I've been working with a lot of world-class speakers and big people on the stage. I know that you've been on Tony Robbins' program and on other big programs, and your down-to-earth way of just doing things and just helping people, I love it. Thank you so much, Brian.
My pleasure, my friend.
Yeah.
Stay well.
Yeah, you too. See you.
See you. Bye.
See you. Thank you all.